Hello, students, and welcome to Chapter 7 of Health Promotion and Disease Prevention. I'm your instructor, Jeremy Whitaker, and we'll be talking about multi-level theories. So there's about 4 or 5 discussed in this chapter. Now, the first one is bioecological systems theory. Now, again, this is very similar to what you saw in Chapter 1. They label it a little differently, but again, it's the same thing, starting with the individual and then moving out, family and culture, society, so again, it's more narrow than broader as you go. Now this adds the chrono system to it, basically saying that things change over time. The individual changes over time. Schools and what schools provide and schools do change over time. What, again, society does changes over time. So even if nothing else changes, the individual will grow up, their taste will change, things like that. So it takes time to account. It also talks about proximal and distal processes. Basically, proximal processes involve the individual, and distal ones involve relationships between, let's say, school and society. The legislature, takes away money from schools or adds more money to schools, which impacts the individual. That would be a distal process. Or proximate process would be the individual attending school. Again, direct interaction between the individual and the outside system. The next model, the coordinated school health program model, again, it draws from the same model, the ecological model. There are things close to the student that directly impact and things further out or further away that they either touch less or don't directly touch them. So, because this was created by the Centers for Disease Control, and again, it only addresses the one topic of school health. However, back in Chapter 1, when you did that assignment where you basically applied the ecological model to a health problem, that's kind of what this is, a very detailed version of, again, applying an ecological model to a specific problem, school health. Next, you have the theory of triadic influence, which sounds and looks really complex, but it's not quite that bad. Basically, there are 3 streams of influence that feed into this kind of, again, the triad, personal, social, and environmental. Now, each of those have different levels of causation, big picture, ultimate stuff, distal kind of in the medium, and then proximate, we get very close to the person. So again, basically says that personal, social, and environmental factors combine into individual decision making, which actually makes perfect sense, and all 3 do so at different levels. Now, there's a couple other models in the very back of the chapter that just go over real quick, and honestly, they're virtually identical. They're called the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, or the WHO, the World Health Organization model. Again, has those 4 levels: individual, relationship, community, societal. Again, that kind of, close to the person, further away. The CDC Youth Model Violence does the same thing, but backward. Starts with macroeconomic or big picture, community, situational, and individual. So again, it's the same thing in reverse for some reason, but the exact same idea. So all of these models basically take this individual on out approach to health promotion. The triadic one a little differently, but basically you can see those same ideas over and over again. So your assignments for this chapter, first your homework assignments. In this chapter, we did the same thing for assignment 5, where you looked at a journal article and answered some questions. Same thing on this. Is a 3-page article on the theory of triadic influence, actually written by the guy who created it, Brian Flay. And a real short assignment, 3 questions, shouldn't take you too long. Assignment 8 is a little bit more intense, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in the next video. Has to do with Chapter 8. Then the discussion boards. This week 7, involves medical marijuana that's currently going on in the session. In fact, it links to a video, or you can just read the article about cannabis oil, medical marijuana, and you can share your thoughts on it. And then again, the week 8 one has to do with Chapter 8, and you picking a model that you like and kind of saying, hey, why would you use it? So anyway, as always, email me if you have questions. Otherwise, we'll talk to you guys later.